When most people think of narcissists, they imagine the loud, arrogant person who clearly thinks they're better than everyone. The one who's obviously self-obsessed, always talking about themselves and demanding attention. And yes, that type does exist, but they're not the most dangerous type. The most dangerous narcissist often doesn't look like that at all. Some narcissists look like the quiet victim. Some look like the most generous person in the room. And some look like your perfect partner at first. If you've ever wondered whether someone in your life is a narcissist, or if you're still trying to understand what you experienced, understanding the four different types is crucial because the tactics, the manipulation, the damage, it looks different depending on which type you're dealing with. So today I'm going to break down the four types: grandiose, covert, malignant, and communal. For each type, I'm going to explain what they look like, how they operate, the phrases they use, and how they make you feel. So by the end, you'll be able to identify exactly what you experienced, and that identification is the first step toward validation and healing. I'm Tanya. I spent 14 years with someone who used many of these tactics, and identifying his type was one of the most validating moments of my healing. Let me help you get that same clarity. Before the four types, let me explain what all narcissists have in common. This is the foundation underneath the different presentations. So, all narcissists lack genuine empathy. They may learn to perform empathy when it benefits them, but they don't actually feel what you feel. All narcissists require narcissistic supply, which is attention, validation, admiration, or control. They need all of these things from other people to feel okay. All narcissists will devalue and discard you eventually. The honeymoon phase never lasts. And all narcissists struggle to take genuine accountability. True ownership of their behavior is rare or non existent. The difference between the four types is how they get their supply, how they present to the world, and which tactics they use most heavily. Same underlying wound, different cost. The first type, the grandiose narcissist. This is the classic narcissist, the one most people picture. Grandiose narcissists believe they are truly exceptional, not just confident, actually superior to others. They're often charming, charismatic, and magnetic, especially at first. They command attention when they enter a room. They're often successful or present themselves as successful. They have an inflated sense of their own importance. They need constant admiration and attention. They brag, name drop, status signal. They expect special treatment and get genuinely offended when they don't receive it. In relationships, they love bomb intensely at first. Then you become an extension of their image. They use phrases like, "Do you know who I am? I'm not like other people. You're lucky to be with someone like me. I could have anyone I want." And initially, they make you feel special, chosen, swept off your feet. But eventually, they'll make you feel invisible, small, like you only exist to serve their image, like you're never good enough. Type number two is the covert narcissist. This is the hardest to spot and often the most damaging. The covert narcissist doesn't look like a narcissist at all. That's what makes them so dangerous. Often, they appear quiet, sensitive, or even shy. They seem like the victim in most situations. They present as the underdog or the one that's been wronged by the world. They often seem humble, but that is also just a performance. Instead of bragging openly, they fish for compliments. They put themselves down so that you'll build them up. They use guilt and martyrdom to control. After everything I've done for you, they're perpetual victims who never take responsibility. In relationships, they make you feel like you're constantly hurting them. You walk on eggshells. They use passive aggression, silent treatment, and withdraw. But when you call it out, they claim they're not doing anything. The gaslighting from covert narcissists is often more insidious because they're so good at seeming like the hurt person. You end up apologizing for things that aren't your fault. They use phrases like, I guess I'm just not good enough, or no one appreciates me. After everything I've sacrificed, you always make me feel like the bad guy. Fine, I'll just do everything myself. They make you feel guilty, constantly guilty, like you can never do enough, like you're always hurting them, even when you're trying your best. And you may start to wonder if you're the toxic one. And that is exactly what they want. If you're dealing with a covert narcissist and you're recognizing these patterns, I want you to know that you aren't crazy and it's not your fault. Identifying the type is the first step. Reclaiming your identity is the next step. My free guide can help. 5 steps to reclaim your identity after abuse. The link is in the description. Type number 3 is the malignant narcissist. This is the most dangerous type. They combine narcissism with antisocial traits, paranoia, and sometimes sadism. This is the type most likely to cause serious harm. They can be very charming when they want something, but there's often something of an edge, an intensity about them that feels just a little bit off. They may seem calculating, cold, or controlling, and they can be extremely paranoid, seeing threats everywhere. For malignant narcissists, control is the primary goal. They want total, complete control. And they'll use intimidation, threats, and fear to get it. They may even enjoy your suffering. They're willing to destroy you if you threaten their control. In relationships, they often isolate you completely. They monitor everything: movement, communication, finances. They may use physical violence, sexual coercion, or threats of harm. They create total dependence where leaving feels impossible or dangerous. Malignant narcissists don't just devalue you, they may actively work to destroy you, especially if you try to leave. They're the most likely to engage in stalking, threats, or escalating abuse after separation. They'll say things like, if I can't have you, no one will. You'll never survive without me. Try to leave and see what happens. I'll destroy you. You made me do this. Malignant narcissists make you feel afraid, constantly afraid, trapped, like there's no way out. You may feel like your life is in danger, and you might be right. If this sounds familiar, please know there are resources and people who can help you safely exit. I'll put hotline numbers in the description. Finally, type 4, the communal narcissist. This is the type almost no one talks about, and it's incredibly confusing for victims. The communal narcissist gets their supply through appearing selfless, helpful, and virtuous. They seem like the most giving, caring people you've ever met. They volunteer constantly. They're always helping others. Everyone thinks they're a saint. Their supply comes from being seen as the most generous, the most morally superior. Their giving isn't actually about you, it's about them looking good. And they keep score. They expect something in return, usually your loyalty, gratitude, or complete submission. In relationships, they'll remind you constantly of everything they've done for you. Their giving comes with strings attached. And if you try to set boundaries, they'll tell everyone how ungrateful you are. They use phrases like, after everything I've done for you, I always give and give and give. Everyone always takes advantage of me. How can you be so ungrateful? They make you feel trapped by obligation, like you can never repay what they've done, guilty for having any needs of your own, and confused because how can someone so giving make you feel so drained? Now, why does identifying the type matter? Because naming what happened is the first step to healing from it. When you can identify the type, when you can say, I was with a covert narcissist, or that was malignant narcissism, you validate your own experience. You know you're not crazy. You're not making it up. You're not being too sensitive. There's a name for what happened to you. And identification also helps you recognize the patterns. Narcissistic abuse follows predictable phases: idealization, devaluation, and discard. When you understand the playbook, you can see your experience more clearly and you can spot these patterns if they show up again. Now, you might be watching this and thinking, but he was more than one type. And you're not wrong. Most abusers don't fit neatly into one category. They're a blend. My ex, he was covert at his core, the victim mentality, the guilt, the after everything I've done for you. But when he was challenged or when I tried to leave, he became very malignant, extremely dangerous, a completely different person. That's actually one of the reasons it's so hard to identify. They shift, they adapt, they're grandiose at work and covert at home, they're communal in public and malignant behind closed doors. If you're thinking he was at least two of these, you're not confused. You're seeing very clearly. You're seeing the full picture. What matters isn't fitting him perfectly into a box. What matters is recognizing the core underneath all the costumes: the lack of empathy, the need for supply, the patterns of control. The type explains the tactics, but the core is always the same. Understand that identifying the type doesn't change what you need to do. The answer is the same, regardless of which type you dealt with. Leave if you haven't already, go no contact as much as possible, and reclaim who you are underneath the abuse. The type explains the tactics, it validates your experience, but the healing work is similar for all of them: reconnecting with your identity, rebuilding your reality, and restoring trust with yourself. Identifying the type doesn't change what you need to do. Leave and reclaim yourself. My free guide, 5 Steps to Reclaim Your Identity After Abuse, helps you start that reclaiming process. The link is in the description. Look, I spent 14 years with someone who showed me multiple types of narcissistic patterns: the love bombing, the gaslighting, the victim mentality when confronted, the control, the devaluation. For years, I couldn't name what was happening. I just knew something was deeply wrong, but I couldn't articulate it. He seemed so reasonable to outsiders. I seemed like the problem. Learning about these types and being able to name the patterns was one of the most validating experiences of my healing. Suddenly, I could see it. Suddenly, I had words for what I'd lived. That is what I want for you. Not just understanding, but validation, the ability to say, this is what happened to me, and it wasn't my fault. So here's what I want you to take from this. First, not all narcissists are obvious. The grandiose type is easy to spot, but the covert, malignant, and communal types can be incredibly confusing. If you didn't recognize the narcissism while you were in it, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It means they were skilled at hiding it. Second, all four types share the same core: lack of empathy, need for supply, patterns of devaluation, inability to take real accountability. The costume is different, the person is same underneath. Third, covert narcissists are often the most damaging because they're the hardest to identify. If you dealt with someone who played the victim while victimizing you, you are not crazy. That's a pattern and it has a name. And fourth, naming the type validates your experience and helps you recognize patterns. But the healing work is almost identical for all types. Leave, go no contact, and reclaim your identity. If you're ready to start the identity work, download my free guide, 5 Steps to Reclaim Your Identity After Abuse. It's designed to help you reconnect with who you actually are underneath all the abuse. The link is in the description. If you're in a situation with a malignant narcissist or you're afraid for any reason, please reach out for help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. If this helped you understand what you have experienced, please subscribe. I post content every week for women moving from surviving to thriving. And before you go, take a breath with me. Inhale through your nose, hold, and then exhale through your mouth with a big sigh. Ready? Let those shoulders drop. Feel grounded in this moment. And remember, now you can name it. And naming it is the first step to freedom. I'll see you in the next video.